Ever feel like you're bombarded with info, you're trying to learn something new, and suddenly it's just too much? Like trying to drink from a fire hose.
Yeah, totally. Information overload, it's a thing.
Big time. So we're going deep on a tool that can help cut through that clutter, especially for studying.
You got it. We're talking about journaling, but not just any journaling.
Not Dear Diary stuff.
Right, more like a strategic approach. We've been digging into the research and looking at notebooks designed for this purpose, like those from Listalion, actually. We're going to break down how a good journal can seriously boost your study game and help you actually absorb all that information.
So you're saying a simple notebook can make us better learners. That seems almost too basic.
Well, think about it. Writing by hand versus just reading or typing, it's a way more active process for your brain.
Mm.
When you're physically forming letters, you're forcing yourself to engage with the material on a deeper level.
Okay, I'm kind of seeing it. It's like when I used to rewrite my notes for exams. Sometimes I wouldn't even look at them. Just the act of writing it out helped me remember.
Exactly. And there's actual science behind that. It's called the dual coding theory. Basically, your brain stores info better when it's processed both visually and verbally. Writing does both. Plus, you can actually see your progress as you fill those pages, which is super motivating. And journals like Listalion's, they're built for this kind of deep engagement. They're designed to be more than just a notebook.
So it's not about grabbing any old spiral notebook then. There are specific things that make a journal good for studying. What should we be looking for?
The paper itself is huge. You want something thick, like 120 GSM or more. That way ink won't bleed through. Listalion uses that kind of premium paper, and it makes a big difference, especially if you're into fountain pens. Bleed through. Total concentration killer.
Ugh, tell me about it. I've got notebooks I can barely read because of that. What else matters?
Numbered pages are surprisingly helpful. It lets you create your own index or table of contents. Makes it easy to find stuff later, especially when you're dealing with tons of notes. It's something you'll find in a lot of Listalion journals, and it makes a big difference for organization.
That's smart. Your journal becomes like a textbook you built yourself.
Right, and then there's the physical stuff. Durable cover, you're going to be carrying this thing around, so you don't want it falling apart. Listalion's got some nice faux leather covers. Plus, they have soft cover options too, if you prefer something more flexible. Page ruling is another thing. Listalion mostly does dashed lines. It's a nice balance. But dot grid or blank pages are good for different study styles. Some people like to sketch diagrams or do mind maps. It's all about finding what works for you.
And I know Listalion emphasizes their wood-free ivory paper. They say it gives you a smooth writing experience. Plus, they have that binding that lets the notebook lie flat. It seems like a small thing, but I bet it makes a difference when you're in a long study session.
Totally. It's about minimizing distractions. A flat notebook, smooth paper, those little things add up to a better experience.
Okay, so we've covered why journaling works and what to look for, but let's get real world here. How does having a good study journal actually solve the problems students face?
Think about the classic issues. Ink bleed through. We talked about that. Listalion's thick paper takes care of it. Feeling disorganized, losing notes, study plans going off the rails, features like numbered pages, table of contents. That's where journals like Listalion shine. They bring order to the chaos.
That lack of structure can be a killer. My sister, when she was in law school, it was just piles of papers everywhere, more time spent searching than actually studying.
I've seen it a million times, and a good journal fixes that. Plus, there's ink smudging, especially on cheap paper. Smoother paper helps with that. Some notebooks even have a pocket in the back for loose papers, like Listalion does. It's all about thinking ahead and solving those little frustrations that can derail your study flow.
It sounds like a lot of the features we've talked about, especially in journals like Listalion's, really address those pain points, those numbered pages, the potential for a table of contents. Those are huge for keeping your notes manageable.
Absolutely. Imagine trying to find a specific formula or definition weeks later if your notes are all over the place. With numbered pages and an index, boom, you find it in seconds. Less stress, more time to actually learn.
This is all so practical. It reminds me of a friend from college, super smart guy, but organization was not his strong suit. He tried going digital, but it didn't work for him. He felt like his thoughts were just scattered across a bunch of different files.
It happens. Sometimes digital isn't the answer.
Yeah. And eventually, he switched to a physical journal with numbered pages. He started summarizing each lecture at the end of the day, and he said it was a game changer. Having everything in one place, flipping back and forth easily, building his own index, it just clicked for him. He felt more in control, and his grades actually went up. It wasn't about some fancy app. It was about writing things down in a way that made sense to him.
I love that story. It shows how a simple tool can transform your whole approach. It's about creating a system that works for you. And features like numbered pages, that's intentional design, that's what makes a journal truly study-friendly.
So for someone who's ready to dive into study journaling, what are some tips for making it work?
First, what's the purpose of this journal? Is it for one specific subject? All your classes? Brainstorming. Be clear about that up front. Then, tools matter. A good notebook, like Listallion's softcover faux leather ones, comfortable, durable, is part of the experience. And paper quality, we've been over that.
And when it comes to actually using the journal, any strategies there? Listallion uses those dashed lines. How can people make the most of those?
Dashed lines are a good balance. They help you keep your writing neat, but they're not as rigid as solid lines. So you can easily add diagrams or sketches if that's your thing. You can also use the dashes to separate different ideas on the page, visually break things up.
And numbered pages make indexing a breeze. Any advice on how to do that effectively?
Just make it a habit. When you finish a page, jot down the topic and the page number in your index. Takes a few seconds, but it'll save you tons of time later when you're trying to find something specific.
It's like making your own personal study guide almost.
Totally. And don't be afraid to get creative with your note-taking. Bullet points, mind maps, different colored pens, whatever works for you. My friend from that story, he started using different colors for different types of info, like red for definitions, blue for formulas. It helped him visually scan his notes and find what he needed fast.
That's a great tip. Add another layer of organization with color. What other advice do you have for people new to study journaling?
Use your journal to plan your study sessions. Dedicate pages to outline your goals, list your tasks, even schedule in breaks. Having it all written down can really keep you focused. And don't forget to reflect. At the end of a study session or a week or after you finish a big topic, take a few minutes to summarize what you've learned. Identify anything you're still confused about, write down questions you have. It's a way to process the information and make it stick.
So it's about actively using the journal, not just passively taking notes. So why are Listallion journals specifically a good fit for this?
They really hit all the marks. Durable cover, back pocket for loose papers, tons of pages, dashed lines, they've thought of it all. Plus the lay flat binding, it seems small, but it makes a huge difference. And the overall design, it's sleek, professional, not distracting. They've really nailed it.
They seem purpose-built for this. And it's cool that while we're focusing on study here, those same principles apply to other things too. Listallion talks about using journals for wellness, creativity, goal setting, all sorts of stuff.
Right. It's about having a dedicated space for your thoughts and ideas. And the features that make Listallion journals good for studying, those work for all that other stuff too. Lots of space, durable design, quality paper, it all adds up to a journal you can use for years. Practical and elegant. That's a good combo.
So to wrap this up, it seems like the right journal can be a real game changer for learning. Features like high-quality paper, numbered pages, a durable cover, all those things matter, especially if you're looking at journals like Listallion's. They're not just notebooks, they're tools for success.
Kind of said it better myself. It's about creating a system that works for you. Organizing your thoughts, processing information, making connections. It's a way to take control of your learning and actually achieve your goals. And for anyone listening, I'd say this. Try it. Get yourself a good journal, one that's designed for this kind of work. And really commit to using it. You might be surprised by the results. You might discover new ways of thinking, new levels of understanding, all because you decided to give your thoughts a physical space to grow. It's worth exploring, that's for sure.